Howdy y'all, my name is Daniel Still. I'm an incoming junior here at Texas A&M University. I'm a business management major on a pre-law track, and today I'm going to be offering my conflict management services for the individual work pertaining to the Cricket Australia versus the Australian Cricketers Association. So I'm going to go ahead and define the conflict in which what went on this day. So on March 24th, 2018, there was a match being held between Australia and South Africa in Cape Town. So an Australian cricketer by the name of Cameron Bancroft was actually caught on television tampering with the ball before the day's play. Now, after the end of this match, the captain of the team, Steve Smith, and Cameron Bancroft attended a press conference where Bancroft ended up admitting that he did indeed tamper with the ball, saying that he used yellow adhesive tape to stick to the dirt and the grit of the ground. Now, it wasn't sure whether or not Steve Smith was aware of this plan at the moment, but it was later. But once the investigation actually ended up going on the next prior day, Cricket Australia found that Cameron Bancroft indeed used sandpaper instead of yellow adhesive tape, and that Steve Smith knew of this plan going into it. So Steve Smith was fined 100% of his match fee and was charged with conduct contrary to the spirit of the game, as well as Bancroft was fined with 75% of his match fee by the referee. So the following day, Cricket Australia ended up apologizing to their fans, coming out saying that this was not intended. This is not us. This is not who we are. This is not who we intend to be. And both Steve Smith and David Warner were a part of this plan pertaining to Cameron Bancroft tampering with the ball. David Warner, who is the vice captain of the team, was actually the one who prepared the plan, instructed Cameron Bancroft on how to go about it and how to do it. Steve Smith knew of the plan and instructed him to keep the ball in his trousers so that they could tamper with the ball. David Warner was charged with a 12-month ban from all international and domestic cricket and was no longer needed to be considered for leadership positions. Bancroft was found with the same punishment, and the same goes along for Steve Smith. Now, something that kind of caught my eye is that these three individuals were very big in the Cricket Australia world. So one of the articles I was kind of reading up on, theguardian.com, it was saying that this ball would actually alter some of the world's most prominent careers. That's one of the biggest things I think that you need to keep in mind here, is that these were three huge individuals. So kind of going into the mutual interest between the two of these parties, just something that they need to keep in mind while going into this meeting is that they both understand that a punishment is needed to happen. If there is no punishment that is being happened, then what does that say about cricket? What does that say about Cricket Australia? This means that they are not upholding the integrity of the game, and they are unable to show the fans that, yeah, we did this, we admit to our wrongdoing, but we are going to suffer the punishment and we're going to learn from our mistakes. So that keeping that at the core interest is going to keep these two parties aware that the punishment needs to happen, whether it's as severe or whether it's less severe. They need to get that at their main concern and get that figured out, that because there has been previous ball tampering scandals where the punishment was nowhere near as long as what the Cricket Australia is actually receiving. So one of the communication techniques I thought would be the most beneficial to both parties is proposing a technique in which each side is actively listening to each other. So by this I mean they are actively listening, taking down bullet points from each side's conversation so that they can come back with a alternative that they think fits best, and trying to find the median in between the two. Pointing fingers at each other and not kind of finding that resolution is just going to create more conflict, and it's going to stand in their way in finding the solution for this. So kind of going into this meeting, something that needs to be held as a negotiation and kind of how the negotiation needs to go. We need to keep this at a integrative bargaining. So integrative bargaining is where you have a win-win scenario. You don't have one party majority losing, one party majority winning. So in terms of this, I mean Cricket Australia versus the Australian Cricketers Association. You have Australian Cricketers Association who needs to uphold the integrity of the game and understand and make the fans know that this is not how cricket is supposed to be played. This is not what we intend to do. So these players need to learn from their mistakes. And you also have Cricket Australia, who, now that they have these 12-month ban, this may be their only way of income. This is how they support their families. This is how they go through their daily lives. They survive by playing the game of cricket and getting the fans to come in. This could also lose a lot of fans as they want to see these this player and the captains of the team. Now, having them available for leadership positions shows to the fans that are these people really, do they really care about the game of cricket if they were to keep them as leaders? I mean, you have people who are cheating the game in order to win, and they're keeping their leadership positions. This is crucial to keep this as a minimum, at least a punishment of a certain time limit that they have to learn from their mistakes and learn that this punishment is far greater than what the action had been done. They need to learn so that they can maybe further come down the line and actually end up in a leadership position had they learned from their mistakes. So the biggest factor I kind of came across when managing this conflict is that the berries need to be understood, that this could also be just one of the biggest things that really needs to be known is that personalities can actually really run into this argument. Now, you have different types of personalities. You have neuroticism, which is kind of the inability to control your emotions. Now, when both sides come into this, they need to understand that this meeting is supposed to be beneficial for both. You're not supposed to feel like you majority one. You need to find a common ground between the two. You need to put your personalities to the side, and you need to handle the task at hand and get that done, and understand that there has been previous scandals like this, but these players are not getting the punishment that they have had in the past. So this needs to be held at the main factor that's going to kind of keep them at a standstill and be able to figure out that conflict for the future. Thank y'all so much for joining my conflict management services today, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Thank you.